An important thing about game design is understanding, if you're using somebody else's system, what that system's conventions and templates are, both for language and for like mechanics and design principles. Typically, this is so that you can understand how to operate within those templates and design decisions and maintain them in your own work. However, sometimes you want to know when and how to break them. A good example of this is the Kobold Press bestiaries. I'm making this video in response to a request to do more content on Kobold Press stuff, and I'm going to pick a stat block that shows you what I mean. Typically in 5th edition D&D, when you get some sort of negative effect, you are going to be able to either have a consistent duration, like 1 minute, 10 minutes, an hour, forever, etc., or if it's going to be something that you can eventually shrug off, it's going to have some sort of like end of turn or beginning of turn save. Kobold Press does something a little bit different for some of its monster effects. An example of this is the Shoggoth and its hideous piping. You can see you must succeed on DC 15 Wisdom saving throw, or be confused as the spell confusion for 1d4 round. I was not able to find the blog post where they talk about this, but I remember reading it, that the reason that they do this sometimes, and they've started doing it a lot more in their more recent material, I believe, is that when you do end of turn, beginning of turn kind of repeat saves, because of bounded accuracy in 5e and the modifiers being significant towards those save DCs, it can often feel like the abilities are whiffing very easily, where instead of landing and lasting for enough time to be relevant, it'll typically last for 1 turn and then the PC saves out of it, etc., because there's lots of things that can also buff saving throws, re-rolls, resistance, bardic inspiration, all that kind of stuff. By attaching it to a fixed number of rounds that is variable off of a dice roll, you are still adding the chaos, the uncertainty of how long will this last, maybe this PC is more resistant or less resistant to it, but you are going to get some predetermined kind of juice for the squeeze, so to speak. The blog post had a lot of like compelling math where it was basically like standard saving throws, this ends up being approximately the same, but it prevents really like wimpy saving throws from critting and just getting rid of the effect right away. It keeps monsters more consistently threatening rather than it being all up to the die rolls. And this is a good example of knowing the design space, knowing that 5e relies a lot on bounded accuracy for the feeling that you're getting, but knowing that that can kind of feel underwhelming from the GM and the monster side sometimes. So giving those monsters some sort of reliability to mitigate the bounded accuracy swinginess. So when you're designing for somebody else's system, don't be afraid to break the rules, but be aware of why those rules are in place and what breaking them gets you.